Please leave Skeet alone.
Did you hear that?
Slash.
There it is again.
The remains of the missing teens were found severed into pieces.
Kids better watch your step.
It's like something out of a horror movie.
Got some scary shit, Bob.
Oh, scary shit indeed, Diana.
Hello, Mr. Slash.
What's up and welcome to the Slasha Brotha podcast. I am your host, Richard Cunningham, the brother who gushes for the good, the bad, and the most gory cinematic or streamed horror story. And this week I am back. I would love to say that I should really keep a schedule, but honestly my life has been really unpredictable. I turned 30. I did unfortunately lose a family relative. And I also just was going through a lot of existential panic and, the whole hoopla of life. So I can't necessarily promise when I'm going to continue to do regular podcasts. I'd like to get back into it. That's why I'm doing one now. But still, it's just... life has been very unpredictable. So I'm sorry I've been gone for long bouts of time and then returned, but I'm back and I'm here to talk about Scream 6. I actually saw Scream 6 on my birthday. It came out on my 30th, which is cool. I'm definitely going to rate this movie a 4 slashes just because the last Scream, okay. Everybody was on the hype train.
Beep, beep, get on board.
It was the first Scream that was not helmed by Wes Craven. So everybody was kind of just like, oh my god, Radio Silence's Scream is just like the best Scream ever. Da-da-da-da-da. And I said that Scream 5 kind of Scream 3'd me in the sense of everybody thinks that Scream 3 is like one of the weakest ones. I think it's one of the stronger ones. However, everyone thinks Scream 5 is the strongest. Wrong. Okay. Lots of missed potential with the writing, lots of missed potential with the characters. I mean, you sidelined Stu Macher's nephew. Scream 6 was a nice redemption, I would say, in terms of a sequel. It's definitely got a lot of Scream 2 vibes, which I really do appreciate. We go back to college, which is fun. I always love a good college slasher, or just any slasher that involves a high school or academy of some sort. It's always just like a nice atmosphere. Even though we are set in New York City, I do think that we get enough of everything in this. We get the picturesque version of New York City. Like, we get, the aerial shots of Manhattan, etc., etc. But we do get a lot of good shots of Blackmore University, aka NYU, because let's be real, they were shooting at NYU. We've got our main 4 characters that survived the last Scream. So we've got Melissa Barrera returning as Sam Loomis. I'm going to continue to call her Sam Loomis because that's exactly who she is.
What is it you fellas usually do? Fire a warning shot, right?
And then we've got Jenna Ortega. She returned as Tara Carpenter. And of course, Jenna Ortega is just very welcomed and loved in the Scream family and also in the fandom.
She is the moment. Now, come on now.
Melissa Barrera, she received a lot of hate and a lot of negative feedback and criticism when she first appeared on the Scream scene. A lot of people, well, the thing is, when you're playing the brand new protagonist, especially in the film version, like the TV show is one thing. And even then, I think a lot of people generally received Willa Ford, or oh my God, not Willa Ford, Willa Fitzgerald. I think a lot of people really received Willa Fitzgerald and all the people in the TV show really well. Noah is a beloved character, John Carna's character. Bex Taylor Klaus is very much loved. People fucking love Brooke Maddox. I feel like Melissa Barrera, she received a lot of them the most backlash because being the newest final girl, she's not Neve Campbell. She is bringing a whole different element to this. She is not the sweet, innocent ingenue. Like, this is like a tough chick. Like, she's meant to, like, she honestly really does give Tomb Raider vibes when she does get to, like, the third act main cast bloodbath. She's always in a tank top. She's always just, like, ready to fight. I feel like Sydney she goes through the motions. Sydney's also a tough woman, but I just feel like Sam Loomis is always just kind of a bit more alert that there is a danger. Also returning in a part of the core four, as they dub themselves in this movie, Mason Gooding, who his hot factor really, really did rise after this movie, and we'll get to why. Mainly the frat party scene. He has to intervene and save Tara from this douchey frat guy named Frankie. And the thing is, he is shirtless. I'm actually paying homage to him. If you're watching the YouTube component, I'm wearing a pink bandana, kind of like he was, because he was just as basically like shirtless Farmer Fred. And he really gagged the fuck out of me in the scene. Puma and his wife really did something special when they created Mason Gooding, and that's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to thirst over him all of this podcast. But Mason Gooding returned as Chad Meeks Martin. I do like Chad. He has become kind of like the Dewey 2.0 of the Scream franchise, which I think is really cool, especially because we definitely don't really get many brothers surviving in horror films, so it is nice to actually have a brother at the forefront who is the heart of the group. We do have Jasmine Savoy Brown from Yellow Jacket. She is returning as Mindy Meeks Martin, Chad's twin sister. I do love her rules speech because Mindy always gets a fucking speech, you guys. And Jasmine is so good. Like, she nails her speeches every single time. I actually put in my notes, Jasmine's speech is A1 because it genuinely is.
We're in a franchise, and there are certain rules to a continuing franchise.
I had a feeling.
Mason Gooding's character dubs them the Core Four. Honestly, the Core Four is never going to be as cool as the Lakewood Six. It just doesn't sound as great.
Core 4, up top.
No.
Dumbo.
Get that away from me.
I remember specifically the Scream the TV series season 2 when Carlson Young's character Brooke Maddox is talking to Gustavo Acosta, and she is saying her line, "You and everybody else think you know everything about the Lakewood Six. You don't know us." Not really, you know, like just the way she said it, that was just like sexy. And I know like Carlson Young really just has like a great voice. Like, I'm surprised she doesn't do any voice acting in her career or anything, or hasn't really tried that, because she's got a great voice. And so when she delivers that line, like, it just sounds sexy. Like, yeah, like the Lakewood Six, you know, like that's just hot.
That's hot.
I feel like they should have just called themselves the Final Four, because essentially Tara, Sam Loomis, Chad, and Mindy, they are the final four of the last movie. Like, they are the survivors. Even though, yeah, Gail and Sydney were there too, but like in the new generation of new blood and new story, they are the last remaining four. So they are the final four. Like, Chad is a final guy. Mindy is a final girl. Even though, yeah, she gets stabbed and she gets attacked. Like, she's still here. She didn't get randied in this one, which is great. I was really worried she was going to get randied. In fact, I was literally blasting the same meme all over Twitter, just screaming like, "You're not gonna touch Mindy," because I was just so serious. Like, I was just like, dude, you do not take Mindy from me. I love the twins. Let's not separate the twins. We don't need to do that. We don't need to Dewey Chad. We don't need to Randy Mindy. Like, we just don't. Like, let's just keep the black leads like here with us, you know what I mean? Because they matter. They matter just as much as Tara and Sam.
And that's on period.
We have our core four. I want to call them the Final Four so bad. The Final Four sounds so much cooler. Like, Final Four, like, that's cool, you know? Like, the core four, like, such a dork. We open with Samara Weaving, who is a scream queen, of course, in her own right. Samara Weaving's amazing. She is in Ready or Not. She's famously known for Ready or Not. The girl's been around in so many different horror films, but this is a horror film where she is actually not the final girl. This is a horror film where she is the first victim. Yes, we got Samara Weaving as our opening kill, and it's actually really great. Okay, it's not great, but it is a good opening just because it's not an opening attack. I was thinking that with these new radio silence films, it would be interesting if they actually committed to not doing opening kills, but opening attacks, because I actually think this movie would have been so much more effective if we opened with Gale as the first call. Like, Gale could have been an opening attack, just like Tara was an opening attack in the fifth one, because one, her apartment is so opening of Scream coded. Like, even though it's New York, it's still just like, dude, the apartment with the absurd amount of window, like, it just feels so reminiscent of Casey Becker's house in the first one. And they even did the same thing in Scream 2 with Casey, Heather Graham's house in Stab. Same thing with the TV show, Nina's house, absurd amount of open windows. There's no privacy. The killer can obviously see everywhere you're going. It felt like the same thing. And also, it would have been a good opening because we also have Gale, who is played by Courtney Cox, of course. Courtney Cox did return. She's always going to be Gale. Nobody's ever going to replace Courtney Cox's Gale.
After all, Gale Weathers, you're such a complex character.
She does have a new boyfriend, which, okay, this also pissed me off. He should have been more of a character. His name is Brooks, as we find out in the credits, but the thing is, Brooks could have been, Brooks could have a last name. Brooks could have had more lines. Brooks could have been a character. This is the first boyfriend she's had since Dewey, from where the audience is sitting. I just feel like, why did we just have to sideline the brother who could have been, giving us a little bit more? You know what I mean? I just feel like it was a pointless character, but it was just there to have a scare moment, because the boyfriend does get thrown through, I guess, a shelf. But the thing is, this could have easily been an opening scene, because the opening is usually a couple or two people. Even though Jenna Ortega, she was the only, I would say, lone person, we could have opened with the killer taking out Gale's boyfriend, and then all of a sudden the killer attacks Gale. There's this long thing, tries to stab her in the face. Title card. But no, they didn't take that route, so instead we get Samara Weaving. She's an associate professor, I think. Laura Crane, and her dress is actually really iconic. We don't really get many opening starlets in the Scream franchise that are the opening girl to die, that have a really notable or cool outfit. I mean, of course, Drew Barrymore's sweater in her bob will forever be iconic in a staple of Halloween costumes. Jada Pinkett Smith's all plum outfit in Scream 2 is iconic to me, but it's not as iconic to everybody else, I would say, in the Scream fandom. I will say Lucy Hale's yellow t-shirt was worn by a Halloween goer in a later subway scene in the movie as a reference to Stab 6, because Lucy Hale and Sinead Grimes are the opening girls that get killed. So there was somebody making a reference to that in the film, and they were like, ooh, there's little Easter eggs, because this movie got shit splattered with Easter eggs. You just have to look at each scene and just be like, ooh, there's something to pick out. But there's always an Easter egg, of horror in Scream everywhere, which I do think is nice, but sometimes it can be a bit obnoxious.
Are we supposed to be honest or not?
Laura is very realistic. I actually liked the fact that Laura's not played up as this haughty opening girl. She accidentally waves at a guy and assumes it's Reggie, but it's not, and she's just like, oh, she's dorky, which is cute. She's somebody we would actually like. I would love to take her class, to be quite honest with you. But Reggie, quote unquote, says that he's lost, so he sends a message saying, can I call? She accepts it. And we hear a voice, first things first, the voice is immediately Tony Revolori, who plays the character Jason Carvey, who we meet later in the film, like a few minutes later. One thing I also love about this, and shocked the fuck out of me in theaters, Samara Weaving is using her actual accent, which is really cool and really refreshing. She is the first opening girl of Scream with a accent.
Well, it's a very cool restaurant.
And I actually thought this was cute because Reggie asks, since she teaches slasher films, he's like, oh, so what's your favorite scary movie? And she says, not that one. That really got a huge chuckle out of me in theaters. I thought that was very, very funny, simply because everybody knows that Stab is the Scream in their world and universe, the movie within the movie, etc., the Twilight, like, go down a rabbit hole if you want.
But it's illogical. It begs the question that if the beginning of Stab 7 is Stab 6, then is the beginning of Stab 6 Stab 5? And if so, what is Stab 4 about?
I think Stab matters just as much as the Scream franchise does. I feel like, in fact, I was one of the fans of the Scream franchise who got really pissed off because I felt like they fucked with the continuity of Stab, but whatever. Reggie is playing the Lost card, and the thing is, no, actually, I really wouldn't have taken the bait on this. I'm trying to maybe see if I can make an excuse for Laura. There is no excuse. She should have known better. This is New York City, girl. What are you doing?
You are stupid. You're not smart. You're not smart.
Laura stupidly runs deeper and deeper into the alley after she leaves the restaurant, and then all of a sudden the voice breaks, and it's the amazing Roger L. Jackson, sounding just as great as he did in the first movie and every movie prior. She gets jump scared by a bunch of Halloween goers because it's Halloween night. Well, Ghostface just emerges and stabs her, and this is the thing. I feel like we could have really did a lot more with Samara Weaving's death and opening. I was hoping for more. I was hoping that this Scream 6 would really actually go the really gory and macabre, like, kind of just as gruesome as the first movie was, because the first movie was peak gruesome. Steven got his hand cut off, he was gutted, and same thing with Drew Barrymore. Like, pretty much, it honestly looked like Drew Barrymore was nearly cut in half. So it's just kind of like, I was expecting more, just more action in some of these kills, but a lot of it was just way too stabby and stabby. It felt like the fifth one, even though the fifth one was really just Ghostface shanking the fuck out of people, it seemed like. I feel like this one, everything was just jab, and it got really old. But that's exactly what happens to Samara Weaving. There was even at one point I thought they were going to go the full route and stab her in the top of the skull. I don't think we've ever gotten like a straight, genuine, like, jab to the skull, kind of like Friday the 13th Part 6 when Jason stabs Court in the head. I don't think we get shit like that, or even like in Slasher Season 3 when Violet gets the buck knife to the head. One of my favorite kills in that season, by the way. I like, we don't get shit like that. Or even the Prowler, which is one of my favorite head stabbing kills I've ever seen, executed, just because, and God, fucking love Tom Savini, but the guy, he literally gets stabbed through the head with a fucking kitchen knife, and it goes all the way through his head and out the bottom of his neck. Like, somehow the guy is alive. I don't fucking know. It's not possible, but somehow he's alive, and he's just like struggling, but his eyes go fucking white. It's amazing. It's really one of my favorite, like, just head stab scenes in a horror film ever. I feel like we just need to stop being so tame with Scream and go back to, at least with the seventh one, because the seventh is going to be the last. I think we should just go full out gory, like, just, you know, just nasty. I'm talking Olivia Morris and Scream 4 nasty. I want to see some guts, man. Like, what the, you know, don't just stab people. And don't give me, oh, we saw guts with Tony Revolori's death. Blah, 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 baba booey bullshit. Give us iconic deaths like Rose McGowan playing Tatum. I have never, ever seen anybody utilize a cat door for a death as cleverly is that? Like, who would even think that, you know? Like, give us some creative, fun shit. You know, it doesn't have to just be jab, 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 jab. But after Ghostface jabs the fuck out of Samara Weaving, he drops a line, "Now I see something red," and he slashes her. Usually this is the part in Scream. This is usually the part in Scream where we would get the title card. Not the case here. Blood splatters all over Ghostface's mask. And then Ghostface lifts the mask, and it's revealed to be Tony Revolori, playing Jason Carvey. Jason Carvey is a student at Blackmore University, and he is a film geek. He is a stab fanatic, as we find out. Him and also his roommate Greg, who is not really a character, but he's mentioned and thrust into the mix, quote unquote. Get this. This is what trips everybody the fuck out and kind of like really sinks in, like how crazy the Scream franchise has been when it comes to whodunits, because it really does turn out to be, it could be anybody you know, because we follow Jason as he's going back to Blackmore, and the first person he runs into, Tara fucking Carpenter. Tara and Jason are talking, and she asks if him and Greg are going to go to the OKB party. So we get a frat party right away. Jason goes home, and what happens to be playing on his TV other than Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, which is great because a lot of people were laughing when they announced that this movie was going to be set in New York, just because it's like, okay, now we're in Takes Manhattan territory. It just felt like, okay, the second Jason Takes, because not many people love Jason Takes Manhattan. I personally do love Jason Takes Manhattan. It's one of my favorite Friday the 13ths. However, some people think it's one of the shittier ones, which is, if you squint just right, okay, but it's great for what it is. But people were kind of laughing that, like, what next? Is Ghostface going to go into space? So I think people were just kind of skeptical, like, why do we have to go to New York City? But it's not bad. Like, the thing about New York City is because it is such a big city and there are so many other dangers, it heightens the idea that the killer could be anywhere and the killer could be anybody. But I don't know, sometimes the isolation aspect of horror also does add to paranoia, because I'm kind of thinking about films like The Thing and how isolated the crew is and how that makes everything else more sinister, because the same thing with The Thing is also kind of like a whodunit in itself, because you don't know who to trust, because this thing could be anybody and it could be multiple people. And just like with Scream, it's just like there's this paranoia of, oh, okay, like, you know, who the fuck are you people for real? Because you don't really know. We have Jason watching Friday the 13th Part 8, and he also creepily revels in how killing Laura was just like, she all of a sudden went from being human to all of a sudden she was an animal, and then she's just meat. Whatever. Patrick Bateman, Jeffrey Dahmer, wannabe, whatever the fuck. You know, like, this whole phone conversation is bullshit.
How do you really feel?
They're playing Warmer Colder, and Jason is looking for Greg because he assumes that the guy that has Ghostface's voice is Greg, because they're trying to be the killers of this film, and their motive, I guess, is to finish Richie's film.
That's right, by killing Sam and Tara.
Their luck has ran out because Ghostface is in the apartment, and as they're playing Warmer Colder, Jason gets lured into his kitchen, and Ghostface is like, "You're on fire." He opens up the fridge. Greg's headless body is stuffed in there. Like, and the thing is that pissed me off, because they even made a thing about this movie, like, oh, and by the way, the deaths are going to have more stakes. Beheadings.
Beheadings?
Beheadings.
And they put such an emphasis on beheadings. One, we didn't even see Greg get beheaded, so it doesn't really feel that authentic. Friday the 13th Part 2, even though we just get Mrs. Voorhees' head out of nowhere, it still feels authentic. It still feels like we are getting something that we saw from the first film, because we did see her head actually get chopped off by Alice. I did mention that that's what should have happened with Wes and his mom in the 5th Scream, that they should have had like a Friday the 13th Part 2 reference and her head is in the fridge. So I guess they kind of did that here, but it just felt stupid and kind of cheap.
What did you just say?
Ghostface turns around and stabs the fuck out of Jason. Jason, he says, well, what about the movie or something like that, or we have to finish the movie. And the killer says, who gives a fuck about movies? And then slash, and then finally we get the fucking title card, Scream 6. We're reintroduced to the life of Sam Loomis, and she is in therapy with Dr. Stone. He also happens to have a set of plush dolls of the Addams Family, which I thought was cute. He is just asking Sam Loomis about how she's been feeling, because she still takes antipsychotics, because yes, Sam does still hallucinate. This is another thing that pissed me off about this movie. Can we please stop doing de-aged Billy Loomis? I love Skeet Ulrich so much. He's done such a great job in the franchise, but seriously, please leave Skeet alone.
Please!
Just stop it. Because Skeet does make another appearance in this one. Oh God, and the lines are so terrible.
Come on, Sam, you gotta be excited to get our murder on again.
Oh my God, fuck his dialogue in this movie, seriously. Like, he legit says Team Loomis.
Billy and Sam, Team Loomis, Team Loomis.
I can't.
I'm done.
And even when Sam says, oh God, not now, I feel like the whole audience feels that way. I feel like everybody is just like, oh no, not Skeet Ulrich in mirrors and giving her like Atta-girls. No, I don't want it.
Don't you want it? Don't you want it?
The reason Sam Loomis's therapist is a dildo is because he wants her to open up instead of just always talking about Tara, because Sam's big thing is she's just worried about Tara. Her whole thing is, I need to protect my baby sister.
You just follow me here and you won't let me out of your sight.
She explains that her situation is the opposite of Sidney Prescott, because after the first Woodsboro killings, Sidney Prescott instantly became kind of a celebrity, unfortunately, and then all of a sudden there's this horror film that's being made about her. Tori Spelling's in it, Alicia Silverstone's in it. What happens to Sam is everybody turns kind of against her. She doesn't really become the hero of Woodsboro. She becomes the villain, because apparently somebody spread a rumor that she is the one that orchestrated the killings in the 5th movie.
That is not true. That is not true.
Richie and Amber are somehow just fucking innocent, even though, okay, Gail fucking Weathers was there. Sidney fucking Prescott was there. They got stabbed and shot. All of a sudden, Gail Weathers and Sidney Prescott are not credible.
You better get on the right team, sweetheart. You riding with the wrong team.
Apparently, if you just take somebody's photo and put cartoon flowers above their head and make like a fucking flower crown and get this rinky-dink ass chalkboard text that says innocent, all of a sudden that is just like the pinnacle of innocence, which just, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid?
Dude, Amber legit lived in Stu Macher's house and threw a party that same night. That's not suspicious. In fact, I bet you the entire class of Woodsboro High that year of 2022 was like, yeah, actually, Amber was really fucking weird. It kind of makes sense that she was a killer. Like, you know, did anybody ever notice how Amber was there, but then she wasn't there all of a sudden? Does anybody not think that's strange to you? No, because did you not see the picture of her with the flower crown and the chalkboard text that said innocent? How dare you? How dare you go against her? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. And the thing is, I get it. People on Twitter are really that fucking stupid sometimes.
Why do you do these stupid things?
You know what's crazy? This is post-Midsummer, all right? Like, the Flower Crown should not ever be the peak of innocence anywhere. I feel like the Flower Crown is just like, that's just peak guilt. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck happened? Everybody just forgot Midsummer, and everyone's just like, no, Flower Crown, I believe it. Yeah. That's Sam Loomis, that bitch.
Off with her head. Good night.
So people just ran with this bullshit lie, and she has been, I guess, she kind of became a pariah, which is unfortunate.
I don't even know what a pariah is.
She explains to Dr. Stone that in order to defend herself from Richie and everything that he was doing, she, quote unquote, in fact, this is not even a direct quote, I'm just going off of memory. I think she said she had to stab him 22 times, shot him in the head, slit his throat, is what I remember, because she definitely jabbed him quite a few times, and she also did stab him through the fucking cheek, which was kind of awesome. I'm not gonna lie, like, that was, like, really awesome. And I hate his reaction because apparently women just can't defend themselves now. Like, God forbid women just go to therapy and are just like, yeah, I had to kill somebody to defend myself. This guy reacts like a complete dildo. He decides that he needs to call the authorities because she mentioned that it felt right that she did that. One, she stopped a serial killer. So she should feel right about that. I don't see what's wrong about feeling right about that. But apparently to Dr. Stone, he just thinks, no, this bitch is certifiable. Defends herself against a boyfriend who was a serial killer and was obsessed with her serial killer dad.
How dare she! How dare she!
Of course, Sam is just like, okay, whatever, kiss my ass. You're just like all these other assholes. I just needed you to get my medication, to be quite honest. In fact, I bet you that's true. She just needed her medication so she can stop seeing her dad screaming Team Loomis in the back of her head.
Team Loomis.
Dr. Stone, he does get killed by Ghostface. He gets stabbed in the face. Well, they tried to say he got stabbed in the nose. He didn't really get stabbed in the nose. Like, he got stabbed in the side right here, but whatever.
Fuck, it felt good to kill him.
Every time there's a murder, there is a mask from one of the previous killers left behind. So at Jason and Greg's, we find out that there was one Ghostface mask left behind. And on top of that, Samantha's ID. And it's also funny because her ID apparently expires that same fucking day. Like, legit on Halloween. So it's just like, really, Sam? Get your shit together.
Bitch, you don't have a driver's license!
Sam Loomis, Quinn Morgendorffer, and Tara are sharing an apartment. And the reason I call her Quinn Morgendorffer is because her name is Quinn and she's a redhead. Like, she's Quinn Morgendorffer.
Ew! Look how dirty those sheep are!
She is played by Liana Liberato, who I have not seen any of her other films, I don't think, just because I wasn't familiar with her face at first. But she does really great in this movie. The thing is, a lot of people said that the characters of Quinn and Ethan could have easily been played by Ross Lynch and Debbie Ryan. I don't disagree, but I'm also not going to sit here and diss Jack Champion and Liana Liberato because they did really good in this movie.
Bravo!
We do find out that they are the killers. I will say that they did ham it up at the end. I mean, everybody hams it up with the killers now, which I think is unfortunate. Nobody plays being Ghostface as straightforward anymore because depending on the motive, like, usually there is a motive of revenge of some sort. You would think that it would be played straight up and straightforward. I think the most straight up form of reveal we've gotten has been Scream 2 because Laurie Metcalf, she did that. I mean, one, she doesn't even blink the entire reveal, which is insane.
I'm very sane.
We've never gotten anybody else really play it straightforward like that. I mean, Roman kind of did, but even then, Roman got really whiny at some point. Like, I believe the part when he really gets into his speech with Sydney, and he's just like, "You're gonna pay, Sydney, for the mother mother and the family, and Sydney literally just goes like, are you fucking kidding me?
God, why don't you stop your whining and get on with it? I've heard this shit before.
Stop! What in the seventh heaven is this? You know, like, what are you babbling about? But even then, I just feel like sometimes we just get this over the top, like, yeah, I'm the killer. Like, Emma Roberts, she went a little ham, but not too much. Like, she was on like the fence of ham. Like, she was almost there. Like, she was barely peeking through.
Shut the fuck up already!
Scream 5, hammy for the most part. Quirky and fun at times. Like, I do enjoy Amber's little but still, it was just, it was a bit much. And in this one, oh my God, it was like jamon and cheese at the end of this fucking movie. You could smell bacon at the end of this bitch. Like, it was just nothing but ham and ham and ham and and an oink oink there, and an oink oink there, and everywhere.
Jesus, help me here.
The motive, ultimately, at the end, is revenge. Play it straightforward. Don't, you know, like, I think, and the problem is, I think because every actor who wants to be in a Scream film wants to be Ghostface, and they really want to chop it up and just, you know, really go in. You can't always do that. Like, sometimes it gets a little obnoxious, and I think in this one it got really obnoxious. We get introduced to Quinn Morgendorffer. Mindy straight up calls her a slut. Like, she just straight up calls Quinn the slutty roommate.
Sex positive, but thank you.
They live across the courtyard from this guy, Danny Brackett, who is, of course, Sam's secret lover. It's implied that they're not a thing, or they've never spoken to each other, but Sam looks at him from afar. Sam doesn't want to reveal to her friends that she's dating somebody because, God forbid, oh, I'm seeing somebody, and I'm trying to have a healthier relationship now with somebody who's not a serial killer, and, you know, we're having sex, cool. Like, I don't think anybody's going to begrudge Sam having sex. It's okay for the final girl to not be a virgin anymore. I think we've gotten past that in horror movies. Like, the final girl fucks.
But I guess being a sexually available woman is supposed to be empowering these days.
We then get the OKB party. They're playing Blow the Whistle, and that's kind of fun. But at the same time, I was also sitting there, and I felt I had to check myself because I felt very old in this moment. I said this out loud in the theater. What the fuck they know about Blow the Whistle? And then I said, like, wow, that sounded so old of me, man.
But you're so old.
Mindy is there with her brand new girlfriend, Annika Kayoko, who is played by the lovely Devin Nakota. Devin Nakota has been so warmly welcomed into the Scream fandom. People really love the character of Annika. She's such a sweetheart. She's very protective of her friends. She's very protective of Mindy. And also, oh God, her death breaks my heart. Her death breaks everybody's heart, to be quite honest. Honestly, Annika's death really made the entire theater deflate because it was just like, wow. It was rough. But we've got Annika, Mindy, Chad is there, and also he's there with his roommate, Ethan Landry, who is dressed like, I don't know, he's barrel guy, I guess. Like, so yeah, because he looks like a barrel. I don't know what this costume is, because everybody's kind of also like, they're in like makeshift costumes too. It might as well be an ABC party, to be quite honest. It's funny, Chad and Ethan. In fact, I'm gonna call Ethan Cool Ethan, because I was thinking about this earlier and it really just made me chuckle, because I was thinking about the movie Slackers with Jason Schwartzman and how his character's such a douchebag, but he's like trying to make everybody call him Cool Ethan and trying to make that a thing. Ethan's a dork. He lacks a lot of self-confidence, which is obvious. He almost just seems like he's in the group by default just because he's Chad's roommate. Chad asked this one girl who's dressed like Hermione, hey, what do you think of my friend? He's a snack, right? And she's just like, eh. And Jack Champion's character, Ethan, he's just like, oh, well, what's that mean? And Chad, he's just like, oh, it's good. Well, it's not bad. Like, just the way he says it, it's so funny. He's like, it's good. Like, I thought that was hilarious. The fun times kind of get interrupted because Tara's there, but the thing is, Tara is drunk as fuck. She is getting hit on by this douchebag Frankie who, and it's funny, he asks her if she's thinking of rushing Omega Beta Zeta, and I loved this. And me being the horror dork that I am, I instantly screamed out in the theater, she would make a great sober sister!
Drink with your brain, that's our motto.
She even says, yeah, I think I might rush it, because Omega Beta Zeta is the same sorority that Cece Cooper was a part of. This guy's trying to take a drunken Tara all the way upstairs, and that's just not okay. Like, you know, where is the alarm?
This still needs to go.
Annika, she sees it, and so she's like, no, this is not happening. And she even gives Frankie attitude. I love this. He's just like, I'm Frankie. And she's just like,
and I'm spectacularly uninterested in knowing anything about you.
This is when Chad Meeks Martin gags the fuck out of me. Whew. Man, and so he comes out like Prince Valiant in his cowboy hat and phantasmic torso, and he is just like, hey partner, I think she's good down here. And they get into this fight. Here comes Sam Loomis out of nowhere, and she straight up tases this guy in the balls, which was like, okay.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm just gonna tase you in the balls real quick.
You just don't see people use a lot of tasers in films, especially horror films. I feel like tasers are not well utilized like they really could be. Idle Hands really utilized a taser really well for a death. Like, we need more tasers in horror just popping up. It's nice, but Sam lights this guy the fuck up. The thing about Melissa Barrera's character is because, like I was saying, she has not necessarily been well received into the franchise. She has a moment where she's talking with Jenna Ortega's character, Tara, and she says that, I know I shouldn't care what people think, but it sucks being this hated. And a lot of the things she's going through kind of mirror how I think Melissa Barrera was feeling about how she was welcomed into the franchise, because she really... people didn't take to her at first, and I was one of them, but I never talked negatively about her. I just always said, like, you gotta know this character more than just one movie. You know, that's not fair. But unfortunately, people just really went ham, and a lot of things were just not nice, and a lot of things were unfortunately racist, and it's just... I just hope Melissa Barrera feels that she is welcomed in this franchise. She is a loved final girl. Like, honestly, Sam kind of grew on me. After the party, we do have this moment with Sam and Tara. Tara keeps telling Sam, you have to let me go because you're just smothering. Like, you have to just stop it.
S-T-O-P. Stop. Had enough of you with that. I really have.
What trips me out is when Sam tells Tara that, okay, that guy was gonna take advantage of you like he's an asshole. Here goes Tara, so what?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that...
What kind of response is that? So, you know, and then she says, if I want to hook up with an asshole, that's my decision. And Sam says, okay. Like, I think everybody had that response, because it's just like, girl, like, you were barely constructing sentences, and he was dragging you, like, forcibly by your arm upstairs. You know what I mean? Like, and Tara's a short girl. Like, she's small. Like, Jenna Ortega is a small girl. And this dude, Frankie, was way too large for her. Like, emphasis on he's too tall for you. Because, my fucking lord, man.
Get your life together.
Sam is just kind of like, listen, I'm just trying to protect you. But then, all of a sudden, this random bitch who looks like she just came off the set of Footloose decides to chuck Diet Cherry Coke all over Sam Loomis. And the thing that I love about the final girls of Scream, they're not afraid to fucking scrap. Because I even think about Emma in Scream the TV series. Like, even Emma wasn't afraid to smack a bitch. This girl is just a mess. Like, first of all, what the fuck was that outfit?
God damn, she can't dress at
Oh! Jack Champion and Sam Loomis are having a moment. And what's funny is he gives her these tissues, and it's like somber music play, like almost kind of like melancholy music. And then it almost kind of plays off like there's going to be a moment or a thing between Sam Loomis and Cool Ethan. And this is not that type of dynamic at all. Like, he's like 18 and Sam is 26. Like, she has no interest in this child. She just looks at him like, fuck off. You know, like, she's just like, what? Like, you can go now. You know, like, this is not, like, that's not gonna be a thing that happens in this movie. Not at all. Chad and Tara almost kiss in her bedroom, but then Quinn Morgendorffer decides to burst in, and she is just dropping cock block like no other. Like, she just walks in and she's just like, oh, did I cock block you? I cock blocked you. By the way, I just forgot to mention I just cock blocked you guys. By the way, did I cock block you? Cock blocked you.
Stop it!
Jenna Ortega is just like, no, absolutely not. Like, do not ever enter my bedroom like that ever again. And Quinn is so funny. She's just like, I won't. I won't. Sorry. You know, like, she's just so funny. Like, she's just like, she's mouthing sorry to Tara. She's just like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought that was really hilarious. But yeah, Chad and Tara have a burgeoning romance. So that's interesting. I mean, it's not like you can really establish much of a thing with Chad and Tara from the last movie, because we got that Wes was interested in Tara, but nothing was really going to happen. And also, Tara's kind of got like a whole other situation going, so there really wasn't a whole lot for her to focus on. And also, Amber was written as Tara's girlfriend in the fifth Scream, but they kind of scrapped that idea, sort of, or just didn't like make a huge thing of it. To where it was noticeable, because, I don't know, sometimes it's just like, you can have characters be gay, but sometimes it doesn't always have to be shoehorned in there. Like, you can have them be gay and it's authentic, but you don't have to just make them a gay character just to make them a gay character. I feel like if they're meant, like, I don't know, just commit to it, you know? Like, just be authentic if you're going to make a queer character.
Well, I'll drink to that.
After Dr. Stone is stabbed in the face, we get that the crew is going through Mindy's A1 speech, because we are not talking about requels in this movie. It's funny, Annika even brings up requels because she tries to ask, like, what's a requel? And Jasmine Savoy Brown, it's so funny. Mindy's kind of an asshole, and this is the thing. I think more of her assholeness came out in this movie. I mean, I love her. She's funny, but she pissed me off in this movie sometimes. So Annika, she asks what's a requel, and here goes Mindy, you're beautiful, sweetie, hold questions to the end. It's like, skirt, like, who are you talking to?
I think right now you're feeling like you're becoming a grown woman.
I feel like Mindy has memorized these speeches so much, because you know she's a fan of Stab, especially any scene that involves Randy. She establishes that this isn't just about Stab 2, because even though we're in college, there's more to the story. And of course, she breaks down that the suspect list does include the new friends in college.
Everybody's a suspect!
Ethan also has a line, he's just like, wait, so am I in the friend group? Like, am I one of the targets of? And they're like, yes. And then he says, am I gonna die a virgin? And they're all just like, that was a weird overshare. In fact, Jenna Ortega's reaction is probably the most priceless. She just goes like, and cocks her head. It's pretty great. And then they go to Quinn, the quote-unquote slutty roommate. And I just thought that was so bold of her to just say the slutty roommate, like, just out of the woodwork.
No more slut shaming!
Quinn's dad is a detective, Detective Wayne's World.
Party time! Accident!
His name is Detective Wayne Bailey, but I'm going to call him Detective Wayne's World.
Swing!
We have Hayden Panettiere returning as Kirby Reed. Well, now Special Agent Kirby Reed, should I say, because Kirby is now a part of the FBI, and she's got kind of like a Clarice Starling thing going on. Like, she's got like this tough, self-aware and secure thing about her. I mean, she always kind of had that, but it's more, it's very heightened in this one, which I think is cool. I mean, of course it's going to be more heightened simply because Kirby she was, 18, 17 in Scream 4, so in this one, she's 30, and I also thought that's cool, because it's, like, same age, so I was like, when she said, I'm 30, I was like, oh, don't rub it in, like, god damn it, Kirby. God, 30, what the hell, man. But yeah, so Kirby, she is 30 years old, she's with the FBI, she is very established, and she is all the way from Georgia, where is, I guess, her home base now, and she has decided to come up to New York and help with the Ghostface killings and investigation, because she takes a special interest, as she says. And also, it's revealed that her and Sam Loomis went to Woodsboro High together. Kirby was a senior when Sam was a freshman, so that makes sense. So Sam was around when the whole Woodsboro massacre happened with Jill Roberts and Charlie Walker, so that's also a thing. And Kirby offers her protection and offers, like, her loyalty, obviously, but Sam is still just like gung-ho, I need to get the fuck out of here. Also, when her and Tara leave the police station, I love the music that we get underneath. It felt very Scream 1, and the score, like, I know it's not the same composer, I don't think, but still, it just felt very, like, nostalgic to hear that, you know, and you just hear that undertone. I think that's very nice. It felt like, yes, even though it's New York, we're still in a Scream film. We're still in that kind of atmosphere. I just feel like the fifth one, it just missed the mark on the feeling like Woodsboro. It just didn't feel like it. We then also get Gail popping out of nowhere, and she... okay... because we had to make this a thing. So, and here's my theory, and also, like, some fun connection that I actually noticed. Sam takes more to Gail, and Tara takes more to Sydney, even though they have not necessarily had much of a camaraderie or, I guess, situation together. Like, they haven't really talked. And the thing is, a lot of the survivors in this movie talk, and they have their own little, like, separate chit-chats, which I thought is also why this movie is 2 hours. There's a lot of exposition and a lot of, you know, Easter eggs. Like, some scenes run a little bit longer than they should, and that's also another qualm I have with this movie. But we are then shown, because we have to make a reference to Gail getting hit in the face, and this is why I make this connection. Sam Loomis tries to hit Gail. Gail ducks out of the way instantly, like she's fucking Trinity in the Matrix, right? Tara straight fucking cold cocks Gail in the face.
Nice try, sweetie. But I've done this dance before.
Oh! Sydney has never straight up jabbed Gail. Actually, no. She did jab Gail in the first movie, but I don't think as hard. In Scream 2, she straight up just backhanded a bitch. The reason I think this is a fun connection is because Sydney always connected with Gail. Like, whenever it came to throwing a hit, she never missed. Sam misses because Sam and Gail truly have a real dynamic and camaraderie, because their personalities just mesh. One, because they have similar upbringings with their family and also similar strained relationships. Gail does mention later in the movie that her relationship with her parents sucks as well, because Sam is not close with her mother anymore, Christina Carpenter. Tara has also cut ties with Christina because Christina cut ties with Sam. It's just a broken home. When Gail gets attacked in the apartment and she gets stabbed by a glass shard from Ghostface, after Sam and Tara intervene, we think that Gail has, you know, this is Gail's final count, like she's gonna die, because she tells Sydney that he never got me, and then she passes out. Sam is being pushed out the way, but she's saying, no. Like, that really almost made me cry in theaters. Like, this movie really does get emotional at times. Like, I got kind of choked up, because I was just like, damn, you know, like, that's tough if we're gonna lose Gail right now. Like, I can't handle this.
I'm in a glass case of emotion. emotion!
Gail is okay. She gets attacked, but she survives. I did mention that her boyfriend gets thrown through the shelf. He gets stabbed a few times and his throat is slashed. He's not really a character. Wasted potential. He could have been played by a more possibly notable actor, or the actor that was playing him could have been just had more lines, been introduced as a character. Like, we could have did better by Brooks.
Sorry about your boyfriend. All those muscles didn't help much.
They sure didn't.
So Gail Weathers, her character development was completely shat on in this movie, and we need to talk about it. Scream 1, she was just power bitch.
Move your fat tub of lard ass now!
She went from being that and being really pious and callous to all of a sudden she has heart. Next thing you know, it's like, fuck writing about the Woodsboro murders. I'm going to write about Dewey. I'm going to write about a man who gave a damn.
I'd like to read that story.
I'll send you a copy.
Well, let me tell you, you'll never get it.
Then we get, in the sequel, not only did she write about the murders, she tried to get the movie rights and make another stab. It didn't work out because currently the atmosphere of horror is it's all about limited series, is what she says, which is, it's kind of true. She just really backpedaled in character, and I didn't like it. I didn't like how they wrote her. I just thought it was very disappointing because she had all that development, and this is where we're at. She's still... Somebody was going to write a book about it. Gail has come so far from somebody's going to write a book about it. I mean, that was the point. Why? Like, I don't think Wes Craven would have agreed with that. I don't think Wes Craven would have been so much, we've developed Gail this far, and she's still stuck on, let's write a book about it. You know what I mean? Like...
I feel so confused. You guys don't understand. I know. It's just a stress.
She also slandered Sam, which, okay, you're basically adding fuel to the fire. Why would you call her unstable and a born killer when she sat there and helped? Like, you all were... What is Gail thinking? Like, Gail deserved to get her ass whooped.
Slap her, slap her.
We get another falling death in Scream 6, which is nice because, you know, it's a nice homage to Sarah Michelle Gellar's death. But Annika, she is tossed off of a ladder because Ghostface, there's an apartment attack, and basically Quinn is seemingly killed. Quinn Morgendorfer seems to have had her throat slashed because her window is right across from Danny's living room, and Danny can apparently see that Ghostface is right behind Quinn as she's on the phone. Ghostface then goes into the bathroom because Quinn has a guy over, presumably the same guy she was with, but who knows, probably not the same guy. And Ghostface does away with the guy in the shower and just stabs the hell out of him. But Danny sends a picture, and here's what's weird to me. This is why I'm starting to think maybe Danny's not 100% like out of the clear and not 100% innocent, and I think this could be the direction that they're going with in Scream 7, and I think it would be an interesting direction to go with. Well, Danny, when he alerts the Core 4 that Quinn is getting murdered in her bedroom, because he sends a picture that looks like Quinn is getting her throat slashed, right? Okay. If he is watching this, and clearly Quinn is wearing a prosthetic to make it look like her neck has been sliced, how do you fake that when somebody can see the entire thing from their bedroom? Like, he can see this whole thing going down, right? Okay. So, factor in mind that. And then he alerts not just Sam Loomis that Quinn is getting supposedly murdered in her bedroom, but he's able to text all of the Core 4. Mindy gets a text, Chad gets a text, Tara gets a text. That's like, but yet he was the boyfriend that they didn't know about. And the thing is, Sam literally just told them, I'm sleeping with cute boy across the courtyard. So how does he have their contact numbers?
Boys are cheats and liars. They're such a big disgrace.
I'm saying, but at the same time, we're meant to believe that Danny's innocent and that he's the pinnacle of goodness because, no, he doesn't have a flower crown and he doesn't have chalkboard text across his chest, but he's wearing blue. And the thing is, blue is a good signifier in Scream because that means usually that there is goodness in the room or there is goodness to that character. Even Gail is introduced in a blue suit, and even though we're introduced to her horrible character regression, we still get that Gail is still a good character, I guess, but bitch, like, you didn't need to write another book about the murders. Seriously.
P.S. You suck. Probably.
You should be rich as hell. You wrote the books, and you also, you're the pinnacle of the Stab franchise because they're all based off of the shit you wrote. You should be fine. Like, you should have a nice little nest egg. Frankly, her even having a news job should really just be a hobby. And I bet it is. Like, because you should be rich as sin.
What's your status at the bank?
Quinn Morgendorffer is tossed into the living room in front of everybody, and then we get Ghostface attacking everyone. So Ghostface slashes Mindy's arm, and then Mindy decides to pretend that getting slashed in the arm is the equivalent to exactly what happens to Annika next, which is Annika tries to stop Ghostface from attacking Mindy, but Ghostface then ends up strangling Annika and then pins her to the wall and stabs her. Then we get them hiding in Quinn Morgendorffer's bedroom. Danny extends a ladder across from the windows. Sam goes first, and then Sam is basically like, okay, get Annika to come next, because Annika is losing a lot of blood. Like, she's clearly the one who's suffering the most. But we've got Mindy over fucking exaggerating this arm slash. Like, she's just, like, you know, she's just gone through the most, apparently. But because I really hate the shot where she's, like, gripping her arm, and she's just like, fuck. Like, girl, you got one slash across the arm. Like, what are you bitching about?
I can be extra as I want it. That's my personality. I'm extra.
She is ready to get Annika to go next, and this is what kills me, you guys. Annika, oh my God, she's pretty much sacrifices herself for Mindy. She tells Mindy, just go, I'll be right behind you, I promise. Guys, this scene hurts so fucking much. Oh, man. Mindy and Annika share one last passionate kiss, and it hurts, and it's, oh my God. Mindy goes, she makes it across the ladder, then Annika goes next. Ghostface has already pushed his way into the room. Annika pauses, and I hate it. Ghostface starts rocking the ladder, and she even screams, baby, I don't want to die. I hate it. Oh my God. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. Annika falls off the ladder. And then to add insult to injury, and we just couldn't have her hitting the ground. We had to turn it up a notch in this one because Sarah Michelle Gellar just hits the ground. Okay, Dion Richmond, who was playing Tyson Fox in Scream 3, he just hits the ground. Annika has to get her skull crushed because she lands on a dumpster, and then she hits the ground. It is devastating. It is gruesome. It is painful. Like I said, the theater deflates, man, and it just sucks. But we also get that Jack Champion, Cool Ethan, is nowhere to be seen. He was apparently at Econ. I'm sure nobody can fucking confirm that, but apparently he was able to. Apparently his alibi checks out, but whatever. How does it check out? You know what I mean? Like, who confirmed that? But, well, then again, it was probably Detective Wayne's World, because Detective Wayne's World, spoiler if you haven't seen this movie already, he is also one of the killers. So there's 3 killers in this movie. So technically, by the end of Scream 6, you could actually make a calendar of all the killers in the Scream franchise, which I think is really cool. Even though we're going to get more killers by the 7th one, I think it would be interesting to have a Scream calendar where, like, January January is Stu and Billy, you know, February is Nancy, March is Mickey. I think that'd be so cool. I think, yeah, that'd be really fun. I think somebody should do that.
Do it.
We actually do get a scene with Detective Wayne's World, and he is crying because, well, he's fake crying, obviously, because Quinn Morgendorffer is dead, and he's doing this whole thing like, both my kids are gone. My whole family is gone. I actually, okay, I know Dermot Mulroney is a good actor, but man, he really hammed it up in this role, man. Like, he was the big ham in this one, especially in the final reveal with all the killers. He was really hamming it the fuck up for real. Quinn gives herself away immediately, and they weren't even really subtle about this. You know that there's going to be some hint of who the killer is the second that Quinn says to Tara, after we lost my brother. I was in the theater, like, with my feet up, and it was like the fucking Leo DiCaprio gif where he just points at the screen. He's like, right there. Because the second she said, after we lost my brother, I was like, I know. I knew it. I knew it. I know it's you. And I was right. It's Quinn. It was obvious.
Shut your whore fucking mouth!
Quinn is one of the first characters in a long time since Roman to fake her death. Actually, she's the first girl in the Scream films to fake her death, which I think is cool. So that's, like, I guess, a nice little revisit, but it just didn't hit as great as they wanted it to, because like I said, the killers really hammed it up in this one.
This little piggy went to the market, all right? This little piggy stayed home.
We also do get a scene where they go to the theater that has been refashioned into a stab museum, I guess, because they've got all these, just everything from the Stab franchise or the real life Woodsboro murders. They've got Tatum's outfit, they've got Stephen Orth's jacket, they've got Jill Roberts' outfit, they've got the knife that Charlie Walker used to stab Kirby, they've got the TV that killed Stu Macher. Yes, he's fucking dead. And they've got, my God, they've got everything. They've got Randy's work uniform from the video store, which I thought was insane. They've got drawings of every single victim and how they died. You see a display with Dewey, and it just shows, like, old pictures of him, his crime scene. It's just wild, man. Even just thinking about it, it was a really, like, cool and just, like, it's like the ultimate Easter egg in the entire film. It's literally like what every Scream fan wanted to see. They wanted to see all these props. You see all the books that Gale has written that were adapted into Stab films. One line that Dermot Mulroney says that I thought was kind of weirdly shoehorned and, like, just weirdly placed. He says, "You've all been through so much." And it's just kind of like, dude, you're like, did you forget the role you're playing? Like, your daughter just got killed, quote unquote. Like, play it up, like, duh. But yeah, I don't know. It was just a weird line. Like, and plus the way he says it too is just weird. Like, all of a sudden, you know, just here comes Detective Wayne's World. You've all been through so much. Like, okay.
Whatever that means.
Tara and Kirby have a talk, and Kirby, she explained, in fact, I don't understand this. Actually, everybody has a talk with everybody. Like, it's just weird. Like, Kirby talks to Mindy, and they have, like, a horror trivia off because they're both horror-savvy characters. And first of all, okay, they ask, what's the best Nightmare on Elm Street? The first one. True, although the fourth one is my favorite. And then she asks, what's the best Friday the 13th? Kirby says part 4. She had a crush on Corey Feldman, which, I get it, I guess. You know, I was more a Corey Haim fan, so that's just me. Then Mindy also reveals that I think she says Friday the 13th Part 2 is one of the best. I'm sitting here, first of all, both of y'all are fucking wrong. The best Friday the 13th is Friday the 13th Part 3, and nobody can really dispute that. Jason gets the iconic mask, which was the pinnacle of his image for the rest of time, as it seems. Come on, dude. Andy's kill, iconic. Vera's kill, iconic. The fact that he gets his mask from Shelley, iconic. It's the best in the franchise. Okay, the first one's fantastic, second one's great, third one sets the tone. Like, I don't know what it is about third films in the franchises of horror, but like the third just gets it. Friday the 13th Part 3 gets it. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 definitely gets it. Shit, Hellraiser 3 is good.
Relax, baby. This is better than sex.
Final Destination 3 is amazing. Final Destination 3 is the best in the franchise. Don't even play. Best deaths, don't at me, because you can't. 3 is just a great number for horror. Kirby, she died after Charlie stabbed her. She died for 4 minutes. 4 minutes, specifically. And she became a cop and got into the FBI because she became really angry after the Woodsboro murders, and she decided that she wanted to face her demons head on. And I really like this. I really like that motive for Kirby. Tara, she's struggling because she doesn't want to be a part of the whole Stab franchise and legacy. It's just not where she wants her life to go. She doesn't want to be Sidney Prescott, even though in hindsight, Tara Carpenter has been accepted as the newest Sidney Prescott. Sam Loomis, she has not only just been accepted as her own character, but she's also welcomed as like a new Sidney, but I feel like she's more of a Gale. There's more of a connection and more of a parallel between Sam Loomis and Gale than there is between Sidney and Sam. Like, even in the fifth one, Sidney and Sam are just like oil and water. Like, it's not mixing. Like, because Sam, like I said, she was very disrespectful to the original three for the most part in the fifth Scream. So I just feel like, okay, her and Sidney are two complete different entities. Meanwhile, her and Gale, Sam's about to bawl because she thinks Gale is dead. So, but the thing that's also interesting, and even when Gale is introduced and gets punched, when she mentions that she called Sidney, Tara is the first one, and she turns around and says, she's not coming here, is she? She's the most concerned about Sidney. She's the most worried the second Sidney's name is dropped. But the thing is, Sam, she doesn't have that same reaction. The only thing she says is, well, at least that we agree, because Gale says that Sidney deserves to have her happy ending, and she and her kids have just left town. So makes sense, but still, it's kind of interesting to notice that Tara is very responsive to when Sidney's name is dropped. All of a sudden, whoa, no, not Sidney. But when it comes to Gale, Sam is more activated. This is also the part where we get Skeet Ulrich as Billy in the fucking reflection. I hate it so much. Oh my God, Skeet, why? I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it.
Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it!
Oh, God damn it. We've got Skeet. He drops the line, Team Loomis.
Team Loomis.
He also does say at another point in the movie, let's carve up more motherfuckers. And what the fuck is this dialogue, man? I just don't understand.
I don't understand. I don't understand, bitch. I don't understand.
We got to stop de-aging, you guys. In fact, I saw a thread on Twitter, and they were talking about this. We got to stop fucking de-aging people because it didn't work in It Chapter 2. It was a mess. We just got to stop it. Just stop de-aging people. Shoot the material you need to shoot. The fact that they didn't even shoot all the material they needed to make It Chapter 2 when they were filming It Chapter... I'm tired of y'all. I ain't got the time. We then get this train attack, which, well, this train scene is just so fucking drawn out. Like, one, it was overhyped in the trailer. Everybody was, you know, so excited to point out the Easter eggs, like it's fucking Where's Waldo. Ooh, I could see a Ghostface there, and, you know, the Ready or Not bride there, and I can see Laurie Strode there. Like, oh my god. Like, just, why does... it's so dumb. I feel like it was just so extra. But this train scene really is long, and it really does piss me off the more I watch it, because it's just like, dude, it's just like, why? Like, this is literally, like, I feel like we're genuinely on this train with her. Like, we've literally got to take a whole train to the upper side of Manhattan or something like that just to finish this fucking movie. But this is where Mindy gets attacked on the train, and it's shown in the trailers, Ghostface grabbing her, etc., etc. Mindy does get stabbed, but the thing is, she's with Cool Ethan at this time because the group gets separated, obviously, and Mindy has to take the later train. Well, one, they get suspicious of Danny because Danny is like, I guess they blamed him for them getting separated, even though he was trying to just keep them together. But they just don't trust him because he's new and he's not Woodsboro. I get it, but he's very much so played up to be like a Derek Feldman type of character, because in Scream 2, Derek Feldman, all he wore was blue, and he had these piercing blue eyes. Good God. Jerry O'Connell was such a cutie in that movie. Mindy, she's not alone. She's with Cool Ethan, and it's so funny. Ethan pops up mysteriously behind her, and she just says, "Get your Ghostface ass away from me, Ghostface." It's so fucking funny. She's just so over the top. And she gets stabbed on the train, but it's not Ethan. And so then she assumes, okay, I got it wrong again, because she's always like, oh, I wish I could have called the killers, the first time. And so that's like her thing. She's always missing out on the key moments of the reveal.
Fuck! Did I miss the monologue again?
The paramedics come and try and help her when they get her off the train, and she says, "Fuck this franchise." That's so fucking funny. Because I can see how Sista's just over it. She just wants out. I feel for them. They all don't want to be a part of this franchise, but they're just stuck. They're just there by circumstance.
Honey, I didn't even want to be here today.
The last Ghostface is yet to be unmasked, and Sam has the fucking audacity to guess like this is just a fucking game. Like, do you think this is a joke? Like, this made me so mad in theaters. I was so disappointed in her for saying this. She literally guesses Mindy, and I'm just like, okay. Listen here, you fucking traitor.
You are a snake.
This group had so much solidification that they are a family and they are the core four. Stupid. And it's just like, they interlocked hands. It meant something. And how the fuck is she gonna sit there and guess Mindy? And then right when Mindy shows up at the end, just, hey girl, we were wondering where you were.
You are a fake ass, phony ass bitch, and everything that you said to me straight up between me and you was fake.
I had to side eye her for that one. That was a little, I didn't appreciate that. Mindy doesn't make it to the third act main cast bloodbath, unfortunately. And it's not even really a third act main, like, it's just a showdown. That's really what this is. It's a showdown because Kirby, she has rigged the theater to basically be a kill box. So they come up with like this cage to trap Ghostface, and there's also this, could Kirby be the killer? There's moments to make her seem sinister. I would have appreciated them having the balls to just make Kirby a killer, because she could have easily been like, no, I was meant to be the final girl. Like, they could have really made this like a Saw kind of twist.
Game over.
Kirby is not the killer. She gets knocked out by one of the killers, and people start pointing the finger that it's her. Even Detective Wayne's World, he lies to Sam and says, oh, Kirby, she got released from the FBI for being mentally unstable. Sure she did, man. In fact, that actually seemed like very cheap because I feel like I've heard that line used before. Like, oh, they were released from the FBI for being mentally unstable. Dun, dun, dun. Like, I don't know what other movie I've seen, but that's been done before. And I didn't like it because it felt very cheap. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get it, but there could have been something else. She's mentally unstable. It's Kirby. Dude, like, how obvious can you be? We find out that the killers are Detective Wayne's World, Quinn Morgendorffer, and Cool Ethan. They're all actually related.
My name's not Ethan Landry. Is it, Dad?
Dad?
We are family.
All their last name has to be Bailey, and I think Richie lied about his last name. I don't think it was Kirsch. I think his real name is Richie Bailey, and his siblings are Quinn Bailey, Quinn Morgendorffer, and Cool Ethan, Ethan Bailey, and they were all in on this murder plot because Sam killed Richie, and they just felt like, oh, how dare she kill my son who was a murderer, and I indulged his fantasies of horror movies and Ghostface, blah, 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 blah. They are trying to frame Sam and make it look like she's the mastermind behind the murders, and they're just going to tie up loose ends afterwards, kill Mindy, kill Gail, because, quote-unquote, as Officer Wayne's World says, everybody dies, or, excuse me, in his overhammed delivery, because everybody dies, Sam, like, he literally does that.
Because everybody dies, Sam! Everyone who had anything to do with the death of my son suffers and dies.
Well, yeah, they do.
Tara has knocked out Quinn Morgendorffer's teeth with a brick. Tara manages to stab Cool Ethan in the mouth after he drops the whole, I've always wanted to stick something in you, Tara. God, I hate that line. I hate that line so much. Oh my God, I hate it. It's not okay. But she gets him back. Because she falls, because there's this whole thing of, let me go, Sam, you have to let me go. So they revisit that again. And when she drops Tara, she falls onto Ethan's knife, but then she stabs Cool Ethan in the mouth and then twists it and basically just makes him deep throat a buck knife.
Choke on it, bitch!
Sam just shoots Quinn Morgendorffer in the fucking face. Like, it's really funny. It's kind of just like Quinn, it was just like, we just got her out of the way, basically. Like, it just felt so anticlimactic. But the way they did it was kind of funny. And also, in a true Scream, you have to at least shoot one killer in the head. So I get it. It had to be Quinn Morgendorffer in this movie. And then Detective Wayne's World, he witnesses this. And then Sam she's out of bullets by this point, so she just decides fuck it, and she charges at Detective Wayne's World. They fall off the balcony into a glass display, but Wayne's World, he wakes up, but Sam Loomis is nowhere to be found, and it turns out that she has put on her dad's Ghostface costume and the original mask that he wore in 1996. She plays this cat and mouse game with him and then ends up, okay, here's where I thought this was stupid, even though people think this is like such an epic, shot for some reason. When she's stabbing Detective Wayne's World, I don't understand why she's stabbing around the Kevlar vest. And maybe, I don't know, I have to just look this up, but I don't think Kevlar vests, you can stab through those. They're bulletproof, but I don't think they're not knife proof. So why is she just stabbing him? It's almost like she was jabbing him everywhere. And it was so funny because the camera is rotating around her and she's just jabbed. It was almost like, I didn't jab there, gotta jab there, gotta jab underneath the armpit and, by the arm. She was just jabbing. It was so silly. But after she's done jabbing him like a fucking pincushion, he thinks he's gotten some mercy, and here comes Tara out of nowhere, just looking at Sam like, the fuck? She stabs Detective Wayne's World in the eye. I thought this was lame. Why can't we just commit to stabbing people in the head? Why? She could have stabbed him right in the temple. That would have been so cool. It would have been so badass if we just see her bring up the knife, and then you see, the blade up in the air, and then like right to the top of the temple. You know, like that would have been so good. Like just a straight like slam right into the top of the temple. Boom, dead. But instead she does this like jam to the eye and he didn't die good in this one.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
He gets jabbed in the eye, and then Detective Wayne's World just like flails on the ground, like, and then just, you know, that's it. And then we get Red Right Hand playing in the background because I guess a home video that Richie made way back when, before he even orchestrated the whole Woodsboro murders of 2022. He's like, they're playing this video that he made, some rinky-dink ass. It looks like he's torturing a girl, and it's like a snuff film made to look like a stab film. Like, it's just weird. But basically, they're playing Richie's little whatever fucking film. Okay.
Whatever, major loser.
Tara and Sam have a moment where Tara admits that, yeah, I think I'm going to need a lot of therapy after this, dude, because this shit got wild. And her and Sam, they're cool. Team Carpenter. So, Team Loomis I hate, but Team Carpenter I can deal with. So, the sisters survive. Kirby is still alive. In fact, cool Ethan is not dead, because apparently he survives his little buck knife deep throating, and he tries to charge at the girls, but then Kirby emerges out of nowhere, knocks the TV that killed Stu Macher on to Ethan's head, and it crushes him, just to confirm that everybody's bullshit fan service idea that Stu is still alive. No, he's gone. He's dead. He's rotting with the worms.
His body is dissolving in a bathtub in Hell's Kitchen.
Chad survives. Mindy survives. Captain Innocent, in the blue shirt, he is the one that sends the cavalry to come. All three of them walk off, and we get Demi Lovato's song that she did for the movie Still Alive. Really love this song. I keep on playing it on repeat. I just wish that the actual song did the Still Alive part twice, like they do in the actual credits of this movie. I think this is the first official song we've ever gotten for a Scream movie. Aside from Red Right Hand being the theme song, I feel like this is the first actual song produced for a Scream film specifically for the soundtrack. So that was really cool. I just feel like this movie, it did good for a follow-up to what the fifth Scream was. It's a lot more interesting. It's a lot more fun. It's just a lot more everything. It's just more heightened. It's exactly what Scream 2 was to Scream. Do I feel like the sixth one is the greatest entry? No, of course not. And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this are probably also wondering why I skipped over the whole bodega scene. The bodega scene is bullshit to me. Honestly, one, the entire cast is not there. It's just the sisters. It was another scene that was way drawn out. I didn't like the fact that there's no realistic stakes present. Like, for example, if you're crawling over glass, you're gonna fuck up your hand. Even if you're on your, like, fingertips and trying to be stealthy, you're still gonna, like, prick yourself at some point. There was just nothing realistic, like, that made the scene more interesting. So I just don't feel it's really worth mentioning, and I know that's probably crazy to say. On top of that, Ghostface with a fucking shotgun is never gonna impress me. I don't even think Wes Craven would have agreed with Ghostface with a shotgun. I don't think anybody wanted, like, in the original production of Scream, or the creators, like Kevin Williamson, I don't even think would have approved that. I don't agree. I don't think it's authentic. I feel like it was just something to do that seemed cool in the writer's room, but I just feel like Ghostface with a shotgun doesn't hit for me, so it's not really worth going through that entire scene. There's an attack in a bodega, and yeah, it is what it is, but whatever.
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
You know what would have been funny, and a great reference to Friday the 13th Part 8? They should have had the guy that's working the register, the owner, right when the girls are panicking and saying, like, somebody's attacking us, da-da-da-da-da. He should have just said the same thing that the waitress says in Jason Takes Manhattan. He should have just said, well, welcome to New York. That would have been so fucking funny.
You don't understand. There is a maniac trying to kill us. Welcome to New York.
Anyone who's from New York would have been like, that's so unrealistic to say. But at the same time, every Friday 8 fan would have just died. They would have been like, yes, that's so good. So I just feel like, yeah, the bodega scene had happened. Okay, you're not going to impress me with Ghostface with a shotgun. It's just not going to work.
Great gowns, beautiful gowns.
You didn't impress me with Hobo with a shotgun. You're not going to impress me with Jason with a shotgun. You're not going to impress me with Ghostface with a shotgun. You will never impress me with Freddy with a shotgun. Michael with a shotgun impresses me because I've seen what Michael can do with a shotgun. He doesn't use shotguns like they're shotguns. So those are my thoughts on the newest Scream film, Scream 6 by Radio Silence. I do not know if they are going to helm the next Scream 7 project. I wouldn't mind if they did. I'm indifferent if they don't. I'm just excited to see Jenna, Mason, Jasmine, and Melissa all return. I'm interested to see where the storyline goes. One thing, because I actually got off tangent, one thing I was saying is I think it's strange that Danny had all 4 of their numbers. I think he actually is a killer, but I think an interesting theory or an interesting scenario to explore would be is if they made the mother the final killer in Scream 7, and you need to get Marisol Nichols to play her. Don't be stupid. And I think it would be interesting if the mother and Danny were secretly together, right? But actually, because Jason and Greg were trying to kill people, but then you've got Detective Wayne's World, Quinn Morgendorfer, and Cool Ethan. They're a group of killers, and they're the main group of killers, right? What if Danny and Christina Carpenter were also trying to be the killers in New York, but there was too much fucking heat going on, right?
Dun dun dun.
I personally think it'd be a great storyline to just have Christina Carpenter, their mother, who should be played by Marisol Nichols, to be the killer in Scream 7, because she has every reason to be a killer if she is against Sam. She doesn't have a relationship with Tara. Her relationship with her husband, Mr. Carpenter, is ruined. And, you know, on top of that, like, you were fucking Billy Loomis. You have to be a little bit crazy. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, like, they weren't all Sydney. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, Christina's got to be a little whacked. She has to be.
No, that's a fucking villain.
And we do get that Christina does have an issue with alcohol, so maybe that might also bleed into the narrative, and she just got so drunk with the idea of it's Sam's fault, that now it's like she just emerges as this killer. I think that would be an interesting way to wrap up Scream 7, but that's just my thoughts on the matter. I'm going to wrap up this podcast, however. If you would like to follow me on social media, you can still follow my Instagram page with some of my art. You can also still find me at Martian Prince Jr. on Instagram. You can also still find me at Slasha Brotha on Instagram as well. However, I'm going to be not really utilizing Instagram that much anymore. I do want to start a Twitter. I tried starting one a long time ago, but I accidentally deleted it. So, yeah. Me and technology, but I accidentally deleted that one. But I am interested in starting another Twitter for Slasha Brotha, just because, you know, I have noticed that there is a nice horror community on Twitter. And even though, yeah, there are some people who take it a little bit to the extreme.
How can fandom be toxic?
I do feel like there is a cool level of horror fans on Twitter, so I think I'm going to be starting a Twitter pretty soon, and most likely that will be Slasha Brotha. If you enjoyed this podcast and you're watching the YouTube component, please feel free to leave a like or leave a dope comment about what you thought about Scream, how you felt about the killers, all that jazz. That'd be so great to see. And also, if you are new to my channel, please feel free to subscribe. subscribe. I'd love it if you did. I really enjoy talking about horror and just doing fun little horror videos on the side of the podcast as well. So, and I really just want to get into doing my channel more often and more full time. Granted, my life participates with me. So, but yeah, I'm glad that, you know, I'm back and doing this again. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I try and be as funny as I possibly can on the fly, and I definitely try and, you know, add clips for the YouTube component so people can see clips of, you know, the movies and everything and sort of just see what I'm talking about as opposed to just listening. And I thank the listeners that I have had in the past and still do, and I hope you guys stay along for the ride, and I hope you guys enjoy more of what is coming. All right, so until it is time to slay another day, I will see you Gore-Geeks later.